Just when we thought this paternity scandal was over, Laura Owens has decided that she's just gonna double down by posting not one, not two, not three, not four, but as of filming this, 5 Medium articles going basically on the attack and trying to further victimize herself. So today, we are once again covering the Clayton Echard and Laura Owens paternity case. So sit back, relax, and take a deep breath. It is time to let the fresh air in. Hi, everyone. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. My name is Erin, and I am fascinated by all things cult, true crime, and unique spiritual practices, and really just human behavior in general. And when I tell you I have been fascinated by this woman and her behavior, not necessarily in a good way, I just can't get enough of this case. And it seems like Laura is kind of the gift that keeps on giving. She says she doesn't want anyone to talk about this anymore, but then she provides a lot of new content for us. So let's jump right into this. People who support Clayton continuously get called a cult, the Clayton cult, right? And it's been very frustrating for me as someone who has done multiple deep dives on cults. And I like to consider myself someone who has a really deep understanding on the harmful practices of cults and how hard it is for people within cults to get out of cults and how detrimental cults can be. Calling a group of people who all are following the evidence and are creating their opinions off of that evidence a cult is really offensive. And just like Laura has done to real women who are victims of DV situations or have survived a dangerous miscarriage or have had to deal with fathers that wouldn't step up to the plate and have had to struggle through resources, I find it really offensive because her faking this and making false claims and calling things a cult that are not a cult, it diminishes those true survivors and those true victims of those things. Her falsely claiming DV means that real DV victims are less likely to be believed. And so this is why I wanted to make my video. And it hasn't just been Laura who has been reacting and writing blogs about this situation. It's also shockingly been her lawyer. And in searching for his blog, I also discovered some questionable behavior from him in the past. And I just find it really ironic because in his article, he likes to talk about his previous cases and what great of a lawyer he is and how he has such a great reputation. But he was also accused of an essay back in the 90s and 2000s. So take that for what you will. Now, throughout this whole process, and I'm talking about since, what was it, last September when all of this started to come to light and we started discovering that, oh, wow, maybe this woman is lying about this whole thing. It looks like these photos are Photoshop. Thanks to people like Dave Neal continuously talking about this, other people, victims of hers have come forward and said, oh, yeah, this happened to me. Oh, yeah, I have an RO against me because of her. Oh, yeah, she made false claims against me. Oh, yeah, she falsified a pregnancy with twins to me before. And it's one of those things where it's like the call is coming from inside the house, Laura. She's writing these articles and not having the understanding that she is telling on herself through writing them. She's even using the same pictures that were used and allegedly doctored as like the cover photo for some of her articles. And then people started calling it out on Reddit and said, this is how I used an app to alter my belly to make it look pregnant, and it looks just like Laura's altered stomach. You can kind of tell that she doctored these ultrasound photos. And so after that Reddit post debunking those pregnancy photos, when I looked back at that article today to prepare for this video, she had changed the cover photo. And I'm just so grateful that I had a screenshot from the video I was planning on releasing earlier this week, so I can show you guys that yes, she actually did change this photo after the person on Reddit called her out and basically said, why are you posting another picture that you photoshopped? So we are just going to review some of her Medium articles. I'm probably not going to go through all of them, and I'm going to move past any information that we already know because she kind of repeats herself in many of her articles, but it's very clear that she's angry at the verdict and she is going on the attack. I am not sure how she thinks that it's going to help her in her appeal or the future case if there is some kind of federal charge brought upon her. I don't know why she thinks attacking the court and the judge and this system. I don't know why she thinks the court's going to like backtrack and be like, "Oh, you're right. Oops. I guess since there's so much proof on the internet that you have doctored and lied time and time and time again. Now that multiple people have come forward to say that you lied and you doctored evidence again and you pretended to be a doctor and you pretended to be a student who was trying to cancel Clayton, it's all really odd and I don't know. We'll review these things together and try to understand in a better way what really is going on. It's almost like this fascinating character study because a lot of people in the aftermath of this have been criticizing Dave Neal, saying, well, you post a long video every single day about this case. Of course, you're monetizing it, you're profiting off of it. And what's really fascinating about that argument is I have found myself in just this 1 week being like, oh my gosh, I need to make another video. Oh, I need to make another video. How is it getting crazier? And that is why people like Dave have been talking about this so much because it's important to keep track of all the lies. Okay, Monday she says this, Tuesday she's claiming this, Wednesday she's claiming this, Thursday she's claiming this. By Saturday, it's like she's totally flip-flopped on the other side. And then finally, a month later, she admits that she doctored all of this evidence that she had provided for the court. It's just mind-blowing, right? It's absolutely shocking, mind-blowing. And then we have this sketchy lawyer doubling down in his own way as well. It's all very, very strange. So now let's just jump into these Medium articles because honestly, they're pretty shocking. So right away, when you look at Laura's Medium website, it says, Laura Owens, writing my way through a living hell, a smear campaign waged by strangers who want to break me. Spoiler alert, you won't. And I would argue no one's trying to break you. We are just seeing someone manipulate a system who has a lot of money and is able to be basically, in my opinion, a vexatious litigant and just bring people to court for no apparent reason under falsehoods and lies. And then you get mad when people are calling you out. But that's just my opinion. So the first article she wrote is called When Judges Play Doctor, Ignoring 99.9% of Medical Certainty for 0.1% Doubt. And it's just fascinating because she conveniently leaves out like 99.9% of the facts of this case that has been uncovered over the last 9 or 10 months, thanks to Dave Neal and all of the people who have supported Dave Neal and other people who've started covering this case. So let's just jump right into it. My guess is, like, she's a smart person. Her parents have been in the public eye. It's my belief that she is posting article after article after article so that when you search her name in Google, it doesn't just show up Clayton Echard Paternity Scandal. It shows up Medium author. Here's Laura Owens's blog. It's kind of like she didn't want anyone saying her name. If you said her name, she threatened to sue you. But now that we know her name and it's like public record, or we're feeling more comfortable saying her name because we have a video of her lying, multiple videos of her lying on the stand. Now I think she's trying to like change up the SEO so that when you search Laura Owens, instead of it being her connected to Clayton, she's trying to defend herself / attack others. I filed the paternity case and tried to dismiss it after suffering a miscarriage. Now, nearly 6 months after my motion was denied, the family court judge is sending my case to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office for review. On June 18th, the court ruled that a pregnant woman cannot be considered pregnant unless a judge agrees she is. Way to just leave out most of the facts of this case. Yes, you read that correctly. Apparently, in a twist of medical and judicial logic, it is now up to the courts, not doctors, to diagnose pregnancy. Okay. The only thing Laura had to do was provide proof that she was pregnant. I understand that a high-risk pregnancy, it can, especially if you feel like you're doing it on your own, can be incredibly, incredibly difficult. But I think any reasonable person who is going through a paternity case and has to prove that she's pregnant I would make it my mission, just like she's making it her mission now to defend herself. I would make it my mission to get the proof that I needed in order to prove what I was saying was correct. I wouldn't just doctor a bunch of documents, hide behind a ruthless lawyer, and then write a bunch of blogs that maybe nobody will ever read unless you're a part of the Justice for Clayton cult in a weird attempt to still prove that you aren't lying. Just show us the tangible proof. That's all you needed to do. The fact that there is not enough evidence to prove that you were pregnant, and the fact that you admitted to doctoring several pieces of your proof of pregnancy shows us, tells us, and told the court that you were lying. I don't know if I've ever seen in real time someone triangulate so much and desperately, desperately try to gaslight other people. And we're like, but we see the evidence right here that this is not true. It's not real. You admitted to lying. It just doesn't make any sense. And we're going to hear later a lot of argument about, well, Clayton invited me over under false pretenses. Yeah, you got him into months of litigation under false pretenses. Like, who the hell do you think you are? Okay, sorry. I know I said I'm going to cover this, but I have a lot of feelings about this, and maybe I'm a little frustrated because I also already filmed this video, and now I'm like, gotta do it again because somebody's acting wild. Okay, here we go. Despite medical evidence and a 99.9% certainty from an OBGYN who has delivered more than 22,000 babies that I was pregnant, Judge Matta chose to believe the 0.1% chance that my multiple positive pregnancy tests, some of which you admitted that you doctored and you lied, and an HCG test is not necessarily confirmation of pregnancy, were due to something other than pregnancy. To add insult to injury, she has referred me to the Maricopa County attorney for prosecution. Yes, you also read that correctly. Let's not leave out that you have had multiple cases where multiple men have felt like you were trying to entrap them by pretending to be pregnant or making other medical threats to make sure that they stayed in a relationship with you. Oh my Lord. The ruling came just hours after we notified her of our intention to file a notice for change of judge for cause due to suspected judicial misconduct. Judge Matta's father was present during the trial. While not illegal, raises serious concerns. He came to the hearing, sat with the opposing side. He sat in the overflow room, which just happened to have majority of people who wanted to observe and support Clayton and the trial, even commenting that he was here for the shit show. And here again, her and her lawyer love to call the Justice for Clayton situation a cult, and this is actually a tactic we see cult leaders use when they're being caught of wrongdoing. They go on the attack and say, no, they're all the cult. They're all brainwashed. We are more enlightened than everybody in the world. It's this us versus them mentality. I'm almost certain that if you came forward and said, I'm sorry I lied, I want to admit it, I want to clear my name, and I want to do better, it would all be done. We would give you a round of applause. It takes a big person to admit to wrongdoing like that. And I'm sure any of us who have been following this case and consider ourselves part of the Justice for Clayton community movement, cause, whatever you want to call it, except a cult, we would all be like, thank you. Thank you, Laura. Thank you for owning up to your behavior. We appreciate it. But you're not willing to do that. In an email sent to Judge Matta's division, my attorney wrote, Miss Owens has obtained a video of at least one person making these claims, and that person claims to have directly communicated with Judge Mata's father about this matter. If this claim is true, Miss Owens believes this may warrant a change of judge for cause pursuant to Family Law Rule 6.1. David requested a direct response from Judge Mata to verify these claims by 5 p.m. the following day when we plan to file our concerns with the Commission on Judicial Conduct. That's the thing about Laura. Everything has to be on her timeline. She has sent emails to Clayton that are like, if you don't respond, I'm going to assume that you agree that you're the father. You can't do that. You can't assume someone's response because they don't respond. Unless you're assuming, oh, this person's not responding to me, they must not want to speak to me anymore. That's okay to assume. But you can't just say, hey, if I don't hear by this day and time, you're the bad guy. You can say, hey, I'm going to do this if I don't hear back from you from this day and time. But Judge Mata, you're not the only case she's presiding over. She has multiple cases, okay? So you demanding her respond to you by 5 p.m. when maybe she's in court all day doesn't make sense to me. Instead of answering his questions, she rushed to deliver her ruling. Allegedly, according to you, you feel like it was rushed. We all felt like, how come you haven't made a ruling yet? Like, all the evidence is there. It seems plain as day to us. Why didn't we get a ruling the day of? Well, that's what I was thinking anyways. I was like, when is this going to happen? She sided almost entirely with Clayton. This rushed decision reeked of a desperate attempt to secure her judgment before we could escalate the challenge to her impartiality. So now we're attacking this judge, who is the judge that you're going to have to file an appeal with. So this judge is going to know how much you've insulted her and her ruling. And I'm sure is used to people who she rules against being upset about it. Like, this is probably nothing new for her. She's probably used to countless false accusations like this. And you think this is going to help you win an appeal. I just don't see it. The ruling defies logic, which is hilarious. This whole situation defies logic. All of this defies logic. Claiming to be pregnant with twins and then in December just realizing, oh, I'm not going to win this case. This is bad. And then backtracking and said, uh-oh, I've lost the children. And then people saying, well, how did you lose the children? And she's like, well, I guess I had to say I had a miscarriage, and then not being able to provide a death certificate because if you got pregnant in May and miscarried in December, you would have to provide death certificates of your two twins. But then later you backtrack and you say, well, maybe I miscarried in July because, I don't know, maybe, but you were pushing all of this stuff with Clayton and begging him to come see you and get a paternity test from August through the fall, and then in October, you posted an allegedly doctored picture of you pregnant, claiming that you were still pregnant and that you thought you were pregnant. And then now you say, but then I also miscarried in July, but then I also may have miscarried in that little tiny time between October and November 2nd. But then, yeah, maybe I lied in my November 2nd hearing initially, but then I really thought I was pregnant, but then I realized I wasn't. And like, oh my gosh, all of this is so stressful for me and I'm depressed and everybody stop cyberbullying me. Laura, you told us this is you. This is your logic. That's what you're saying happened. You told us that, like, you told us this. So why are you mad that now we're like, hey, this doesn't line up? It doesn't, it's like the mental gymnastics. I'm like, my neck hurts because I can't keep up with the whiplash, you know? If he truly believed that what happened between us that night couldn't have resulted in my pregnancy, why did he invite me over under false pretenses to take a pregnancy test he bought himself? Because he didn't trust you. Point blank, he didn't trust you. So he also didn't trust that you would bring a real pregnancy test because you can buy fake pregnancy tests online that say that you're pregnant. You can buy fake paternity tests online that claim that someone's pregnant. Messed up. He intentionally misled me. You've been doing that to all of us for almost a year now. Oh my gosh, it's almost July. Like this, I just can't. After the test turned positive, why did he admit that he would say anything to convince me to have an abortion? Because he probably would. Does that suck? Yeah, it does suck. It does suck. Such manipulation is a form of coercion, as he was trying to pressure me into making a decision against my will. Okay, so what do you call emailing him and saying that if he didn't agree to be in a relationship with you and try it out, that you would have the children? Isn't that trying to force someone else to make a decision via coercion? If you can't even use the word cult correctly and you call a whole group of people who simply are seeking the truth, you have absolutely no right to use the word coercion. because it sounds like you don't fully understand what that means. And it sounds like you're very used to using coercion as a method. And maybe you don't realize it's coercion because I'm sure for Laura it's not, because you don't believe that you're wrong. But it's okay to admit that you're wrong. It's okay. Since he's so eager to have me reported to the Maricopa County attorney, I guess I'll be reporting him for those prosecutable offenses as well. The whole reason that we all in our little cult find it so important for you to be prosecuted is because these types of Medium articles are proving to us our speculation that if you're not stopped, you will continue the behavior because you have not learned that this behavior is wrong. So when people do a background check on you, which a lot of people are doing when they date someone to get a job, any and all of the above, people will see, oh, wow, this is what happened. Oh, wow, I need to make sure I don't get entrapped into a situation. Oh, wow, maybe if we're going to have this person on our TED Talk, a very, very popular platform, it could lead to backlash. Let's maybe pause on this. People are allowed to learn information about you and make a decision based on whether or not your actions align with their beliefs. And if you're so afraid of all of these things coming to light and you're so desperate to fight back, then just stop the behavior. Admit your wrongdoing and stop the behavior. And why did he later claim, if it ends up being my child, I've decided that either you'll take 100% custody or it will be put up for adoption? Oh, and in case you're wondering, I didn't try to trap Clayton. He even admitted that he wanted to have sex with me, but that I didn't want to sleep with him. None of that matters. Even if you actually had intercourse and went through with this whole false pregnancy scenario, it would not mean that Clayton wanted to have a child with you. Okay. So she kind of summarizes all the things that we learned in the trial yet again. Okay. So I want to jump to one of her other articles because I found it really, really fascinating. This one was called When Common Sense is Overruled. And this is the one where she changed her picture. Okay. So 2 days ago, when she released this article, what you see on the screen, was the picture of the article. Okay. Since Tuesday and filming this video, someone on Reddit discovered, and people on Reddit, of course, had a suspicion that she had doctored the photo. She was playing arts and crafts again, and that she was using very similar images to what she presented as evidence during her hearing. And so someone, a hero who I will crop her face out, but she posted on Reddit and said, "This is how I made myself look pregnant using this app. It almost is like the exact same kind of detailing, squiggly on, if you zoom in really closely to the belly, you can just tell that it's been altered, it's been doctored." And when you put the two pictures next to each other, it seems very clear that, oh, wow, it looks like Laura could have altered this image with this very same app that this woman used. So then I went back and I looked at her article again because I was searching for her yet another article that she posted the day of filming this video, and she had completely changed the cover photo for this article, When Common Sense is Overruled. Okay. Video of my belly on October 25th, 2023. Okay. I currently weigh 91 pounds. I've lost 40 pounds. So these first two articles, you can pause if you want to read them, but it's very much like painting a picture of the two outcomes of a pregnancy test and the feeling you might have. The absurdity of the ruling. So she kind of goes through her assessment of the ruling yet again, talks about her OBGYN yet again, and talks about how she's being potentially prosecuted yet again. So now we go and we see what she thinks is a double standard. To fully grasp the injustice of this ruling, consider how Arizona typically handles paternity cases. According to the Arizona Revised Statutes, a mother can file a paternity case based on her belief of the pregnancy, and no additional evidence is required. You can file while you're pregnant, which I did. This clearly shows the state's supportive approach rather than a punitive one. The Arizona District of Child Support Services website says if you are unsure of paternity, genetic testing may be needed to prove the identity of the father. DCSS will pay this cost until paternity is established. Wait, so a woman can think, hey, it might be this guy, but probably not. I can't really remember what we did as many times as she wants and not be punished. The state will even pay the cost of testing until she gets it right. So why am I being punished? Because you never got any proof? This is saying, yeah, the DCSS will pay for you to get the proof that you need. And you never got the proof that you needed. See, this is a classic example of like, you could have used this as a resource and gotten your needs met, but you chose not to. So now you're blaming the very resource, the very law that could have protected you and helped you if this had been a legitimate pregnancy. Oh, and then she says, side note to members of the media, I will send you my patient portal login information. And we saw this in the evidence at the hearing. So we all know the backstory at this point. Why I filed the case. After Clayton saw the results for himself, he texted me the next morning to say that he knew I wasn't a liar. Then he made it clear that he had no intention of co-parenting, which is what I wanted. I wanted nothing from him besides that. No money, nothing. Just a plan to figure out scheduling because he had said I would have to give up the pregnancy for adoption, have an abortion, or one of us would take 100% custody. So he's saying these are my boundaries. Yeah, does it suck for the child? But Clayton is clearly saying, hey, I'm not ready to be a dad. I do not want to have anything to do with this child. If you got 100% custody, he would have to most likely, legally, give you money every month or every couple of weeks to help support the child. But he's saying, I don't want to be involved in this child's life. And he would obviously need proof of paternity in order to even get any. Well, you would have to get proof of paternity to help you so that you could get financial support. During his deposition, he said, I told her I'd give her a chance so that I could try to find a way to potentially end the situation. Yes, because you said that if he gave you a chance, you would get an abortion. I love that you just casually leave these little details out. So she says, why I went public with the case. I went public with the case because Clayton refused to respond to my repeated attempts to get him to take the prenatal paternity test. I'd paid for the test on August 15th, but despite my efforts to schedule it, he never complied and it had to be canceled. I feel like in an interview, Clayton said that she hadn't provided real proof that she was pregnant. Like she invited him to a doctor's appointment and then kind of flipped the script and was like, well, never mind. I'm fearful for my life, so I don't want you to come with me. And he's like, okay, if you're fearful for my life, but you're mad that I won't respond to you, how do both of those make sense in this world? Like, I haven't sent you anything threatening. In fact, I don't want to talk to you. So why are you feeling threatened? I don't understand. The high-profile influence. It seems clear to me that Judge Mata would not have allowed this case to go on if Clayton had not been a former Bachelor star. What? I mean, we're really searching for like the cognitive dissonance here. You're just searching for any information that proves what you are saying is true. It's like confirmation bias. She's not going to be able, it seems, to have any point of view that could make her look like the person in the wrong. And I'm going to repeat myself yet again. Grown people, mature people, reasonable, rational people are able to admit when they're wrong. Why can't you just admit that you made this up? Because it feels way too late. It's like the sunk cost fallacy here. She spent so much time and so much money and so much energy and poured so many resources into this lie to a point where now she might be a felon one day that she has to keep up with the lie. Her and her family reputation literally cannot afford for people to not think she's telling the truth. It's absurd. So now we'll scroll down to Justice for Clayton and its influence. Soon after the public learned about the paternity test, the Justice for Clayton movement emerged online. Since September, thousands of hours of content from obsessed wannabe YouTube stars and law tubers have fueled a cult-like following on their monetized channels. These self-proclaimed defenders of Clayton have relentlessly attacked my character, questioning my motives and integrity. I think that that's completely reasonable when it's so easy to provide proof. It would be so easy for you to provide real proof. It would have been if you were actually pregnant. And I don't consider Clayton a celebrity necessarily. I mean, unless you watch The Bachelor, you'll have no idea who this guy is. Their narrative paints me as a manipulative liar out to trap a celebrity who he himself admits I didn't want to sleep with him. I don't know why she keeps saying like she didn't want to sleep with him. You guys didn't sleep together though. He respected that, as far as we all know. The online attacks have put me through hell. Yesterday, one user even commented on content creator Dave Neal's Discord, let her see what the world knows about her and thinks about her. Think about the worst, most embarrassing, horrible, shameful thing you've ever done. Then think about everyone watching it, talking about it, confirming it. Let her stay here and see what we think and know. What they know, none of them know what happened between me and Clayton, but refuse to accept the truth. I did not fake my pregnancy. Let's say you didn't fake your pregnancy. Then it couldn't have been Clayton. There was never any proof that it was Clayton. In fact, the real proof we got was a test that said there was little to no fetal DNA, which means they could not even conduct the test because there was little to no fetal DNA. There was not enough DNA for a paternity test. And I understand that that means the results technically are inconclusive, but that's because the test could not be conducted because there wasn't enough. If you're trying to make purple paint, but all you have is blue paint, you don't have any red paint, then you can't make purple paint. That's it. The reality of my depression. After learning I was pregnant, I was overwhelmed and unsure of what to do. The pregnancy was unplanned, and Clayton was far from supportive. This uncertainty took a massive toll on my mental health. It's just so frustrating that the self-victimization here. So now she moves on to say, my doctor advised that I continue to take my antidepressants, even though they posed a risk during pregnancy because they were crucial for my mental stability. Essentially, I let nature take its course. Tragically, I eventually had a miscarriage. So now she's kind of painting herself in this picture of like all of this stress, all of this uncertainty. I'm so depressed and I had to keep taking my mental health medication, my antidepressant pills, and that led to my miscarriage, which I just think is, once again, it's like that demonization of people who are actually going through situations like this. It gives them less weight to their story. It is harmful to women. So now I want to cover another article, her most recent one. And what I think is so crazy about all of this is what she's complaining that she's a victim of now, this online harassment, is exactly the tactic she was using to try to get Clayton to admit that he was the father and try to get Clayton. She basically said, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, I am going to go to the press, implying that public outrage would cause him to step up and be the dad that she thought he was. But now that we've learned, oh my God, and that is what happened. It was literally like, yet again, Clayton is involved in this scandal. He's been involved in false accusations before. He must just be a terrible guy. Like, I immediately, because I'm inclined to believe women. And I was like, oh my gosh, screw this guy. What a terrible guy. And then we started seeing the doctored ultrasounds and sonograms and all of this evidence started coming to the surface. And it's been absolutely, it's like a hypocrisy. I don't even know what the right word is for it, because it's almost like worse than being a hypocrite. You're like, I'm hunted by hate. There's a big smear campaign. All these cyberbullies are mean to me. And it's like, well, one, that's what you were trying to do to Clayton, and that's what you've continued to try to do to Clayton under different pseudonyms and identities online, allegedly. So let's get into this article. It's really interesting. I feel like it was so hard to find like some up-to-date pictures of her, and now I think she did like a photo shoot or something. Like there are so many pictures of her, like of her looking great, like alive, fresh, happy, hunted by hate, surviving a vicious smear campaign. Imagine waking up every day to a living nightmare. You brought this onto yourself. You shared a full-on folder of all of your receipts to a Reddit page, and then you get mad when there's a Reddit called Justice for Clayton. It's like, make it make sense, you know? And you could have at any time made this stop. And I understand she's going to claim, well, I tried to when I miscarried, but there was no proof you were ever pregnant. Clayton had lost opportunities, money, had been trying to fight you. That's the consequence of your action. is someone getting justice for himself and trying to get money back for all of the frivolous lawsuits you've put him through. He had to step up to the plate and take one for the team because multiple other men have come forward claiming you've done the same thing. And what's also odd is, as someone who's on YouTube, I know that there are people that have opinions of me that I honestly don't want to hear. I fully understand that there are people out there who think what I'm doing is inappropriate or don't like when I cover topics like this, don't like that I call out people like Teal Swan and Twin Flames Universe. And I really try to protect my mental health from that. Now, if it's actual good feedback, oh, hey, your lighting looked off, or oh, hey, you should check in. I think your facts were a little wrong. You should do a little more research on this topic before speaking about it. Like, stuff like that is a way for me to improve. I want to take ownership and accountability of that. And I can't be an anti-cult channel if I'm like, what I say goes and I'm always right. I need to embrace when I mess up or misspeak or misinterpret or just totally don't even see that resource that I should have easily been able to see, right? But I also choose to not read the ad hominem attacks. I don't look at people's comments on Reddit when one of my videos gets posted over there. After a certain period of time, I don't look at my comments on my videos simply because the longer a video is out, the more people who disagree could see it. And I want to just protect myself because I've had whole days ruined because I see someone say you're ugly and stupid and an idiot and Teal Swan's better than you because your dreams have been shattered. And then all day I'm like crying, and I'm just not going to do that to myself. But Laura allegedly pays for Dave Neal's Patreon. She pays to be involved in a Discord where people are constantly sharing their opinions about her. So why are you doing that to yourself? Why are you playing into what these people are saying and reading what they're saying about you and then posting more and more and more content online for people like me to react to and try to debunk? Why would you do that to yourself? This constant harassment, which it's not harassment if people are speaking on a public forum that you decide to go click on and read and look at. It's not harassment when you are paying to have access to a chat room where people are most likely talking about you. That is not harassment. People are allowed to share opinions. I cry every day, overwhelmed by the sheer cruelty and malice directed at me. They have broken me in ways I never thought possible. This goes far beyond cyberbullying. This is calculated, vicious assault aimed at dismantling every aspect of my existence. It's hard to not feel hopeless most days. More than anything, I want to make a positive impact on the world, but as you will see, they do everything in their power to stop me from doing that. You can stop this charade. This piece isn't for them to dissect and mock. It's for you, the person who isn't a cult member. We're not cult members. To understand that I'm not the demon they make me out to be. I want you to see the full extent of their efforts to ruin me and understand that I'm not the person they claim I am. This is the dark reality of what I'm up against, a ceaseless, targeted assault designed to obliterate me. So once again, there's a difference between harassing someone and trying to share information so that one can be held accountable for their actions. And I am not advocating, nor do I support calling anyone a psychopath or insulting them or attacking them. I'm someone that I want to get to the facts. I want to get to the truth. I want to fully understand the nuances. I feel like my word of this year has been nuance. Like, everything is very nuanced. So in sharing some of these posts, I will admit they're a little much. I can understand why she would think it's harassment when we use certain words. However, I stand by what I said previously, is if you know there's this negative rhetoric on a Reddit page that is about supporting the person that you're up against, you have to kind of infer that there's going to be negative information about you on there, and maybe don't go read it. So this goes back to my argument about SEO and why I believe she's posting as her real name. When people search in Google, she wants her Medium article to pop up, her podcast to pop up. But right now, it's all Clayton case. So You can read these if you want. I'm going to go straight to what she says. Manipulating Google search results. This is what my nightmare looks like. These screenshots are from a Discord chat. Like, why are you reading this? Where the JFC members are hell-bent on destroying me. They're manipulating SEO to make sure the JFC website and negative information are the first thing you see when you search my name. By doing this, they're ensuring I can't escape their harassment and making it almost impossible for any new personal or professional acquaintances to want to work with me. This relentless campaign is designed to ruin my reputation and make it so that I can't make money. That's not what it is. What it is people wanting truth to come out. No mainstream media was covering this case until after the judge's verdict. This was all in an effort to create more awareness. And just talking about these things on the internet, it does trip out the SEO. It does change the SEO. When most people are searching your name and its affiliation with a scandal like this one, that is what's going to pop up. This is a fascinating situation, and it is really concerning to have a self-help podcast and then also be engaging in this type of manipulative and concerning behavior. Leaving bad reviews on my podcast. The relentless harassment I face extends to my podcast. Nobody told me. These screenshots reveal the extent to which people are going to tarnish my reputation and discredit my work. The reviews you see here have nothing to do with the actual content of my show. And my podcast, I've made 7 episodes, and my rating is like 3.5 stars because I'm sure some of Teal Swan's minions have rushed to the podcast to give me a bad review, or people who just love the person I'm trying to call out. It happens. It sucks. And would I do it? No. I'm not the type of person that leaves negative reviews on podcasts in that way. It's a waste of my time. But people were trying to bring awareness to the situation. It was all about awareness. It wasn't about attacking. It was about awareness. Reporting me to the United States Equestrian Federation. This email sent by reviewerottawa@gmail shows just how far these individuals will go to ruin my life. Too cowardly to even leave their name. But you didn't want anyone saying your name. The person isn't a writer and has no genuine interest in the equestrian community, but rather is a part of JFC. They fabricated stories, twisting facts to make it seem like I've violated the USEF Code of Conduct, knowing full well that I haven't. I'm not super familiar with this horse fall, so I'm just going to kind of move past that because I don't want to comment on anything that I'm like not certain about. And we'll just keep going. It's difficult for me because I'm not like necessarily an eye for an eye person, but you also cannot control other people's actions. All you can control are your own actions. And if your actions lead to this type of public outrage and discord, you run a risk of something like this happening. I would bet I have lost job opportunities because I used to do like administrative assisting work, and the last client I almost started working with added me on Facebook, and I had just dropped a video about a vampire cult, and he was very much like a diehard Christian, and I'm sure he saw that, and like the day I was supposed to start, he was like, never mind. The stuff you post, like, that can happen. Did it suck at the time? Yes, but at the same time, it's like, I understand the type of content I'm putting out there. I understand that engaging in a paternity scandal with someone who has as much of a following as Clayton could lead to people, like, you have to understand that before, even if she had been pregnant, going into any type of legal battle with anyone who is a public figure, you run the risk of your name and your reputation being forever changed, whether it's good or bad. And so, and for me, I'm like, is this frustrating from her point of view? But also, there's a lot she could have done to avoid all of this. There's a lot she could have done to prove her case. So now she's going to talk about her TED Talk. Obviously, because the JFC cult knows what I am saying is misinformation in my TED Talk, they are obsessed with getting it taken down. Obviously, because the JFC cult knows what I'm saying is misinformation in my TEDx talk. They are obsessed with getting it taken down. Why? Well, of course, they just know that my ex was my victim and that I was never abused ever because they were there when we dated in 2016 and 17. Do they realize how ridiculous they sound? My talk is entirely based on a real woman's account of how my ex treated me on a plane ride to Iceland and the verbal abuse she heard. Here's a link to her declaration, which she gave in support of me obtaining the domestic violence restraining order I have had against him in California since 2018. If her TED Talk is incorrect and if she has been lying about the Megan Fox did interview him. It was very eye-opening. And if she's been lying about all of these things and has done this false twin pregnancy scenario with multiple men, it's just really difficult to believe all of her other claims. There's proof that she was also trying to entrap this man into a relationship with her by threatening to unalive herself if he left her and kind of dangling these trips like carrots to get him to stay with her. And he actually did date her for, I think, at least 2 years. But we don't know for sure, for certain, that she wasn't involved in a DV situation. Mike claims that all of the claims are false and that since he has that restraining order against him, even though he lives in a totally separate state, he's lost job opportunities because of it. So I'm just going to leave that there. So I guess now we'll see why she is posting all of this. I refuse to let the cruelty and harassment of the JFC cult silence me. I am determined to reclaim my life and my dignity for those who have been swayed by their relentless defamation. I ask you to look deeper. Oh, gosh. I've never lied about being pregnant, ever. Medical tests don't lie. I'm not the person JFC cult members make me out to be, and everyone who really knows me knows that. Lord. To the JFC cult, you need to look in the mirror and question your motives and what drives you to want to spend your time trying to destroy the existence of a stranger in any way possible. When some of you traveled to the evidentiary hearing and saw me in person, you just smiled and didn't have the courage to say a word to my face. You are cowards hiding behind your screens. I don't want you to move on and find another stranger to vilify. No one deserves what you've put me through. Like the self-victimization. For some of you, it's about making money off of the daily videos you make about me. For others, it's about the community you've built around this twisted cause. You have no idea how this feels, the toll it takes on a person's mental health, and the destruction it causes in their life. Your obsession with ruining my life is not just cruel, it's deranged. This relentless harassment has to stop. I'm not your entertainment. I'm not your project. I'm a human being who deserves peace. It's time for your sick hobby to end. And she even tags her own name because she's trying to get positive contributions to her name in SEO, cyberbullying, smear campaigns, toxic relationships, and even DV. This whole situation really does make me heartbroken and sad for her and for Clayton. Like, I feel like she really has to believe that what she's saying is true at this point. Like, she really, really has to believe it, as far-fetched as it seems to be. It feels like her family is sometimes enabling this behavior. And I mean, of course, you want to support your loved ones, of course. But I think that since they are public figures, both her parents, there is a higher risk with this kind of situation coming out and being proven as false. It is a stamp, a negative stamp on the family name as a whole and on their businesses as a whole. I guess the next step would be that she becomes a felon and it's on her record forever. And I don't know. It's just, it's a tricky situation. And it's a situation I honestly didn't anticipate talking about again for quite some time. So thank you for supporting this video. If you clicked on it and found value in it, I just think it's really important to debunk some of these things. It's just so ironic that her and her lawyer are calling all of us a cult when they are using classic cult leader tactics to try to prove that they're innocent or right. They are creating an us versus them mentality. They are triangulating information and blaming us for her getting a guilty verdict. She's manipulating the truth. She's leaving a lot of pieces of information out. Rather than defending herself, she's going on the attack. These are all tactics that actual cult leaders use. And a cult leader slash manipulative person slash narcissist can never see that they are actually wrong. They can never really see that they're responsible for the repercussions and the consequences of their actions because they are always going to be innocent. And we are seeing this here in real time. And it's just fascinating because it's not easy to find things like this play out in real time as an actual example of what all of these buzzwords look like: gaslighting, triangulation, manipulation, confirmation bias, false equivalencies, the sunk cost fallacy. We're seeing all of these things play out in real time, and that is why I wanted to make this video. So thank you guys all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. And don't worry, I have a little more about the inside scoop of what's going on with Twin Flames Universe coming to you soon. So I hope you appreciate that. And I'm working on a couple more deep dives for you guys. My mind is just continuously blown by these cults and these cult leaders and the tactics they use that are like different yet so similar in some ways. So with all of that being said, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button. And we're halfway through the year. So let's make the second half of the year even better. Y'all be safe out there, ask questions, and always stay skeptical. Until my next video, I'll see you soon.